This is Ray Mofield with the Oral History Microphone of Marshall County. We're visiting today in the home of Mr. and Mrs. Joe Lawrence Washburn on Pinecrest Drive in Benton. Many of you, I'm sure, know Mr. Washburn and his wife, and Janella, I believe, I think that's her name, worked with the soil service here for a good many years, and I suppose every person who ever farmed in Marshall County had to be acquainted with her. And she's on the other side of the table, so Joe Lawrence, if we get mired down, we know where to turn.
That's right.
Thank you for letting me come. Were you born in Marshall County?
Yes. Around Hamlet. Got it in the Hamlet.
Hamlet neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir. And who was your father, Mr. Washburn?
Moscow Washburn. And
there are a lot of Washburns in the county. Now, I went to school at Hardin, and the postmistress there now was a Washburn. She married a Morris, Mary Alice Washburn Morris. And then, of course, when I moved to Benton, one side of me was Paul Darnell, and the other side was Ms. Washburn, mother of Lawrence Lee Washburn, a physician. And you might be kin to any or all of those, or maybe none of them.
Well, my set of Washburns is a little different. Now, there's another set that we're not related much. Most of my people was from Hamlet and Maple Spring and back on that side of the county.
Mm-hmm.
My grandmother was Cynthia Washburn, and she had, I can't think now how many children there was. There's Homer Washburn, which is, and Amon Washburn, and Will Henson's wife, Myrtle. And as we said before, Eldest Henson's mother was Miss Nellie.
Eldest Henson, a famous schoolman in the county and at Murray State, and went to Harrisburg, Illinois. I remember he had twin boys, and I recall he became president of the Carl Sandburg College at Galesburg, Illinois.
That's right. And his mother and my father was brothers and sisters.
Well, I've learned something. Maybe some other people have. Well, that's great. Your mother then was, who was she?
Travis.
She was a Travis. Another good Marshall County name. I know a lot of Travises.
Yes. Her father was Hall Travis. Her mother was Belle Goheen from Olive.
Oh, me. Now, I went to school with a lot of Goheens, but I always think of a fellow named Ty Goheen, a baseball pitcher.
We was related a little bit. I can't recall just what it was, but
yeah.
all the Goheens, I guess, is related a little bit.
We've had some good basketball players in the recent past. Denny Goheen, and then his son's in Vanderbilt now.
Yeah.
Well, you can always sit back and say, well, now, he's kin to me.
That's right, a little bit.
All right. You grew up on a farm, I suppose.
Yes. I worked this farm for some years, and then I, of course, started driving trucks. And I worked at different places in truck driving.
Was there a country school close by that you attended?
Yes, I attended College School.
Collie. Now that's got a ring of fair dealing to it to me some way.
Well, that's down now. It's just on the bank of the lake where the old school was. And then I went to school at Maple Springs.
Oh yes. Like so many of the schools in Marshall County, there'd be a church and a school side by side often, and I think that is true. There's a Methodist church at Maple Springs.
Right, yes.
I know this coming Saturday, my wife we laughingly say on the third Saturday in August, we go to the University of Oak Valley reunion, and that's coming up. And then my mother-in-law, Ruth Height, who married Ezra Bloomingberg, whom you possibly knew, went to Church Grove, and there was a Methodist church there and the schoolhouse.
Mm-hmm.
On and on you could go. So you went to Maple Springs some. Do you happen to remember any of the teachers you might have had?
Oh, down at Collie, I had Miss Reva Fawn. She was Ott Fawn's wife.
Mm-hmm.
And I had my last teacher was at Maple Spring was Miss Lucille Downing, which I guess you're familiar with.
I know. She taught at Hardin when I was going there. One of my all-time favorites. And I don't know if you listen to WCBL on Sunday morning when Lonnie Smith comes on or not, but often Miss Lucille will ring the phone.
Yes, I hear that.
And say, I would like you to sing a number for my neighbors, and God bless you, and so forth and so on. She's a great one.
Yes,
I've known her all of my lifetime.
She's all right. Of course, after the 8th grade, I decided I wanted to go to work. I didn't go to high school. I started working for the Edwards boys on the farm,
Mm-hmm.
50 cents a day. When we was in the crop, we got 50 cents a day. Then when the crop was all laid by, we went to the logging and hay. We got 75 cents a day.
That was harder work, wasn't it?
Yeah, but we was always looking forward for that extra quarter.
Oh, well, yeah. When a man increases his salary that much in one jump, percentage-wise, that was going way up there, wasn't it?
Then I was started driving the truck, and I worked on the Egners Ferry Bridge. And
I can recall getting a calendar from what we call Ted Pace's store. I think the official name was Ryan Miller Company. There were two giant stores back then in Hardin, and the calendar showed a picture, the architect's drawing of the new bridge spanning the Tennessee River at Egners Ferry. That was 1931.
Yeah, I drove a 1932 Model A truck on that job.
Yeah.
And we just crossed the bridge the other day, and I told my grandson, I said, I was the first one that drove a vehicle across this bridge. The foreman wanted the truck on the opposite side,
Mm-hmm.
and he didn't have all the floor poured. And I was going to have to go around on the ferry boat to get on the opposite side. And he said, if I put some timbers down, will you drive that truck across? Which I did, and when I crossed it, he said, you're the first one to cross it.
Yeah.
In a 32 model, A model truck.
That is some record, isn't it? A number one. Nobody can beat that. I don't remember now the absolute pennies that were spent on it, but roughly that cost about $500,000. And you know, when they filled the lake, the engineer said, well, that bridge is too good just to tear up and throw away. And I think they said it cost about $10 million to build a new bridge, and they could jack that one up for about $3 million.
Yeah,
So they jacked it up, poured new footings,
Yeah.
it's still
Still
going.
going.
Yeah. But you were the first one to drive
I was
across.
the first one to drive a 32 model truck, A model Ford, across it.
Now, when you're working in timber, that was real hard work. You didn't have chainsaws either, did you?
No. My job in the timber was mostly hauling the
Hauling
logs.
the logs.
Hauling
Yeah.
the logs. I never did do much of the cutting of it. I hauled them to the sawmill. And
But those fellas that did were using what I call a cross-cut
that's
saw.
right.
weren't
That's
they?
right.
And that's awfully hard work. I used to saw with my dad. Of course, he said I was the worst partner he ever had in his life.
Yes. That was, I started to work in Unit 2 clearing the dam when the dam was being cleared.
Yes, sir. They had to clean out that whole reservoir.
Well, it had to be cleared, and I started right down where the dam is now on Unit 2, and stayed with them till, well, we got in Tennessee, and it got so far for me to drive. I checked out, and I lost 3 days' work. I went to the dam and went to work.
Mm-hmm. You know, one summer when I was teaching, well, I wasn't teaching school, but I'd been teaching in the fall, and then you're 3 months without work. So I took a job down there checking time, and it was a very interesting thing to me. Best I recall, it had what we called a white badge, and you could go around different places and look it over if you had a
Yes.
little time between checking in crews and checking them in so many times on the shift.
But prior to that, I bought a Ford truck from Govey Smith.
He was Ford dealer here in Benton.
He was
then,
a Ford dealer here, and he was also a contractor. He had contracted these road jobs. And I went to work at Horse Cave with a 37 Ford dump truck. And sometime later, he called me one night and said he had to have 2 trucks over at the Kentucky Dam. They were starting to build it. I didn't know if I wanted to come back home, and I accepted. Come back, and the next morning I went to work over there, and they had one shovel. TVA had a Northwest shovel, and one of their trucks, and there's 2 of us. The first ones that started hauling dirt at the dam.
Mm-hmm.
Well, wasn't too much longer after that till the TVA started getting in big equipment, and our little trucks was no more good, say.
Oh, I can remember that summer they had what was to me the biggest truck on earth. It was a Sterling Viking, and it had a chain drive, and I believe they were rated at 20 tons. Well, the biggest truck I'd ever seen was a Ford 1.5 tons, they called them. Of course, they hauled more than that on them. Sterling Viking. That was really a truck, wasn't it?
Oh, it was. Yeah. They, after that, Uncle Sam got me, of course.
Well, tell us a little about that. You were drafted.
Yes.
And did you go in the Army, Navy, Marine Corps, Air
I
Force?
went in the Army. I was with the medics. I ended up with the 1st General Hospital, which was a unit of Bellevue Hospital. The doctors and nurses was from
New York?
New York, Bellevue Hospital.
That's one of the most famous hospitals of all time.
Yes, I had the privilege of going through that hospital. They took us before we went overseas. They give us a chance to go and tour it, all the personnel. And we had 120 nurses, and I don't recall how many doctors we had, but we went from, our first setup was just outside of London, England. We set up a 1,500-bed hospital.
Now, that was before they went across the channel June 6, 44.
Yes, and we were scheduled, our hospital was scheduled to go on D-Day, and something happened, and they canceled our orders. And then sometime later, we went to Paris, France, and set up a 2,500-bed hospital in a big college, which was a college before. And I spent 2 years over there. Spent 1 year in the States. I was in service about 3 years.
Were you married when you went into service?
No, I didn't marry till what?
You're an old man.
I was an old man. Married Janella, my first marriage.
Now, who was she before she married?
She was a Park.
Park. Okay.
Clint and Grace Parks' daughter.
From Marshall County?
In the Brewers over in, near John Ed Barnes' grocery right now, which is called Harvey.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
She had 3 sisters and a brother, or two more sisters, which is Thelma Thompson and Hilda Cole and Joel Parks. And Joel married Doris Johnson, which I imagine you're familiar with. She was a Hardin girl.
Oh, yes. Yes, now, they lived next door to us at the farm place there for a long time, on at least on that side of the road, the north side of the road. On the south side was Corbett Tucker. And then on that same side, over the years, when I was just a real small boy, I remember a fellow named Hatton Edwards lived there, and then Harv Brown, and then Bernice Johnson.
Yes, Bernice.
And they had a number of children. There was Tommy and, well, Orrin Johnston's dad, and he married my wife's sister. Orrin's a grandson of that Bernice Johnston, and I remember Doris quite well. We went to Hardin High School together.
Doris and Tommy, and John B., Irvin.
Yeah, I married
Kim.
Agnes Johnston, Agnes White, excuse me. Agnes Nanny. Her mother was a White. I'm getting it all fouled up. I'm thinking of so many people I know there. Yeah. They live near the farm there now, where Reed Gay once lived. And I guess it's their son that lives right beside them across the road from Ms. Williams. The place where Bernice Johnson lived, Mr. Williams lives there now, or he did. He's dead. His widow lives there. So I know those people quite well. All right, we got you back. We got you married, and then what happened?
Well, after I come out of the service, I went to work at Magnavox at Paducah. I worked there, some year or a year and a half, and then I went to Tapping Stove at Murray.
Mm-hmm.
And I stayed there till retirement, which was, I spent about 27 and a half years at Tapping.
That was a fine company. I hate
Yes,
to see
it
it
was.
leave. But of course,
Yes.
when you were working at Magnavox, I was just across the road, 1600 North 8th, WPAD.
Yeah.
There
Yes.
for 14
Yes.
years. So
We had a lot of labor trouble there.
Mhm.
And,
yeah, that was unfortunate.
so I had the chance to go to Tapping, and I left Magnavox and went to Tapping. Stayed there till, well, if you remember, we had a strike of 18 months at Tapping.
Yes, sir.
After the strike, why, I had become 62, and I decided I'd give it to them.
Might as well retire while the retiring is
Yeah.
good, and so on. I can understand what you mean. Now, let's get your wife in here just a
Yeah.
minute, if you like. How long? Well, maybe I shouldn't ask her how long. But when did you start working at the farm service? Were you there a good while?
Oh, I was there for over 20 years.
Mhm.
Really enjoyed it. Yes, I've been retired about 10 now. So that's been a long time ago, hasn't it? I'm
Well,
liable to tell my age.
Oh, you've been retired.
10 years.
about 10. It surprised me when she said 10. I didn't think it had been that long, but time gets away, sneaks up on you before you really realize it. But I can remember over the years when I needed something for Farm 1917, which is my farm number at Hardin.
Yeah, I remember that number.
They'd come in and you'd
Yeah.
grab the files and tell me what to do.
That's right.
Now,
Yeah,
let's
I
see,
enjoyed
John Pace, I guess, is over there now, and I don't know who else, but probably,
Girl from Lyon County, Jetty Ferguson, and I don't know the other one there. And Wood Shelman. You remember Wood Shelman?
Oh, yes.
Well, his
Didn't he
daughter-
live out toward Oak Level?
Mhm. His daughter's working in there now. She's part-time.
Uh-huh.
In the rest home somewhere.
All right, now, do you have any children?
One son
Mm-hmm.
and one grandson.
One son and one grandson. Now, tell me the son's name.
Two grand.
Well, step-granddaughters. We have two step-granddaughters
Uh-huh.
and one grandson.
Okay.
And they live about 3 blocks from us.
Well, I was going to ask if you ever got to see them.
Oh, every day.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
tell us about those grandchildren. Are they just about the best on earth?
Oh, just about. You know how that goes, don't you?
Yeah. How old are they?
Well, one of them is married.
Mhm.
She's 25. The other's 23. And our grandson is 12.
12 years old.
Hmm.
Now, he still pays a little attention to Grandma.
Oh, yes. He's down here every day. He was down here a while ago, but they made him come home. After they found out you were coming, they made him come home, and he didn't much like that.
Now, what do you like to do for him? You bake him a pie or?
Oh, he doesn't need any cooking. He's fat. But we have spoiled him. We have really spoiled him. But we enjoy it.
Uh-huh.
He's just a boy once. You know, one of these days he'll forget us probably.
Well, maybe he won't forget you, but he will have other interests, and
That's right.
he won't.
He won't come around like he does now.
No, he won't be able to.
He has a scooter and a four-wheeler. And he can come down the back road and visit with us, you know, and the cops maybe won't catch him.
Uh-huh. Well, now,
He kind of watches those cops.
in the time we have left, I'd like to talk about things that you remember, how they used to be, and how they've changed, and how they are now. Now, you talk about a three-wheeler. When I used to go to my granddad's, Hal Edwards, he would, in spring, let's say, when the sap was rising, he'd take out his old pocket knife and he'd cut off a hickory limb, and he'd make me a hickory bark whip. You've seen those, haven't you?
Sure have.
And well, I thought that I'd been given the Brooklyn Bridge or some great thing. Now, you can't do that same kind of thing for your grandson, can you?
No,
I don't
he
suppose-
wouldn't be interested. That wouldn't interest him at all.
Would you ever make a hickory bark whistle?
No, I haven't. I thought I would, but I just haven't, because I didn't figure he'd be interested in that, because that's not exciting enough for him.
Well, no, you could go to the dime store, anybody could, and buy a whistle like a referee uses for $1, I suppose.
Make a lot more noise.
Yeah, be
He
a less.
loves wrestlers. He's very interested in wrestlers.
So you've got a TV set, and you watch some wrestling from time to time.
Oh yeah, he's had the opportunity to go to Nashville with a group of boys and his daddy to watch live wrestling.
Mhm.
And
Now, the Evansville station carries some wrestling on our cable here, as I remember, Channel 7.
Oh, he
yeah,
watches that all the
he
morning.
watches it all the time. I never care much for it.
Yeah.
He gets up and wrestles with him, you know. He always picks out his good man.
You remember how excited we used to get about radio when it first came around?
Oh yes.
When did you get your first set?
Well, I don't know. It was a battery set. I don't know. I can't remember when it was, but it was long before we had electricity.
Mm-hmm.
And my first radio, I would out at the Edwards' store. They had a radio there with earphones.
Yeah.
And we'd go out there, the neighbor boy and me would ride a mule at night and go out there, and we'd take time about in that store, sitting around in the country store, and we'd take time about putting those earphones on her and It didn't matter what we was listening to, just as long as it was
Just you
coming
heard
through
something,
just
yeah.
heard something.
Oh, now, people will think we're crazy, but I remember similar episodes. I used to go to my uncle, Rob Jackson, and he had one of those Atwater Kent radios, and he had bought an extra attachment of some kind where you could put 6 sets of headphones on that one radio. And I know occasionally there'd be so many people there that they'd unscrew a screw on one of those earphones and take them apart, and then you just hold, 2 people would take,
Could listen.
could listen on one ear. And that especially would happen on Saturday night. A lot of visitors would come in and we'd hear my earliest memories was of the National Barn Dance in Chicago, and then the Grand Ole Opry.
Well,
You would, some way they overlapped some, but they didn't all the way. They'd come on early, I believe, in Chicago. From the 8th Street Theater in downtown Chicago, P. Roona brings you the National Barn Dance with Uncle Ezra, Archie the Arkansas Woodchopper, Lula Bell and Scotty, the Hoosier Hot Shots, Gene Autry, the Singing Cowboy, and let's see, I don't know if I can remember any. There was a guy named Bob Burns, wasn't there, who was...
I can't remember.
I can't either.
One of them was the Arkansas Traveler, though. I thought he was awful good.
Yes, matter of fact, this battery set we had was about the first one we had in the neighborhood there. And some of our neighbors on Saturday night would come in and we'd listen to the Grand Ole Opera. And
A solemn old judge.
it would go off sometimes and it would get weak and we'd have to turn the volume up, or in the station something would interfere with it, but we were still listening.
Yeah.
Everything we could hear.
Let's see. I remember Uncle Dave Macon and his
Yeah.
son Doris. And then there was the Delmore brothers,
Yeah, of course, Minnie Pearl, she's been there for
ever since I
Yeah,
can
me too.
remember. Yeah. And they had a fellow named Robert Lund who did the Talking Blues. That is good, I thought, at the time. But and there were fruit jar drinkers and gully
Yeah,
jumpers
yeah.
and a lot of those stars, of course, have vanished away. About the only ones left's Roy Acuff.
Yeah, that's the only one I can think of. Roy Acuff and Minnie Pearl, of course.
Yeah. Well, it's been a real pleasure talking to you. Do you have any special story you'd like to tell me before we go off? You got a big tale of some kind? Maybe a ghost story? Did you ever get scared real bad when you were a little boy? Or?
Oh, no, I don't remember getting scared. I don't.
Sometimes people tell me, they saw a ghost or something.
No, I don't remember of ever getting especially scared of anything.
Well, that's fine. We're glad that you let us come, and we've enjoyed talking to Joe Lawrence Washburn and his wife Janella, who live on Pinecrest Drive here in Benton.
I was named after Janella Lawrence.
Oh,
know
of
Janella.
Hardin.
Sure.
Janella Dunn Paget Lawrence.
Right.
She was a teacher. Her husband, Clarence Paget, was one of my dad's close friends. If I remember correctly, I believe he maybe was, I don't know, I think he always talked about standing up at their wedding, whatever that meant. Was that best
That's
man?
I guess.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, what they call.
They call them best men now,
Yeah.
or ushers or something or other.
Now, her 2 brothers married a cousin of my mother's,
Uh-huh.
D.Y. and Halleck. course, I guess you knew D.Y.
Yes, he's the oldest Army general in the world, I suppose. He's about 100 now.
Yeah,
And
he's got 100, I guess.
this is Ray Mofield. That ends our oral history for today, and now back to our studio.